I'll introduce myself. My name is Pippa Sechrist, and I'm the co-founder of Miami Ad School, or MAD, as the short version of the name is. And a couple of decades of years ago, I was kind of a unconventional thinker, creative thinker, trying to figure out what to do with my life. I was kind of unhappy doing kind of the standard 9 to 5 and imagining that was going to be my life forever, and found my way into a career as an art director. And there I found my people. It's like, wow, this is what I was meant to do. And today you're going to hear from people who are art directors and copywriters and designers, and hear what their life is about. So I was an art director. My husband had been a copywriter and a designer and a lot of different kinds of creative thinkers. And we decided to create the school that we wish we had gone to. Like, he and I both luckily ambled our way into this career, and it was really hard and difficult. But we've created a school that is the bridge between wanting that career and having that career. We through the program, you learn the skills that you need to have. You learn by doing. You build an incredible network of industry professionals that can help you throughout your career. And so it's kind of like your fast track to a creative career. So on this call are some of the other staff at the school. So Tyler, say hi and what you do.
Hey guys, my name is Tyler. I probably emailed you guys like 50 million times prior to this, but I am in admissions here in Atlanta. I also do social for Miami Ad School. So if you've seen any social on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, that is me. So happy to see you guys.
Vanessa?
Hi, I'm Vanessa, the admissions advisor in Miami. So nice to meet you.
Mo?
Hi guys, I do admissions for New York and San Francisco. It's a pleasure meeting everyone. And of course, when we do our Q&A, you can ask us all the things you need to know about each school.
And we also have an online program, so you don't even have to be in one of those locations.
That's it.
Hank?
You call me?
Yes.
I couldn't hear you, sorry. Hi, everybody. I'm Hank Richardson. I'm the Director of Design at Mad School. And thanks for coming today. And this is going to be a great exposure for you all in the worlds of creativity and entrepreneurship and how they're deeply woven. So welcome on this first adventure with Mad School of Ideas.
Great. So Hank is all about the world of design, and I am from the world of art direction and copywriting and content creation. So between the two of us, we can help guide you through a creative career where you get to find out who you're truly meant to be. Next, I want to introduce you to Ben James. He's one of our graduates. He was just a couple of years ago, graduating, going to school, trying to figure out what he wanted to do. He came to the school, developed a great portfolio, and now has that job that he dreamed of, that creative job. So, and after Ben, we're going to hear from James and then Victoria. And if his connectivity works, Jordan, who's actually on a shoot in India, but he wanted to dial in, even though it's like 2 o'clock in the morning there. He was really enthusiastic about talking to you, but he may not be able to make it, but we're hoping. So Ben, please take it away.
Well, thank you, Pippa. Let me go ahead and share here. I have to say I'm excited to be talking to you guys today because, like Pippa said, I was in this spot 2 years ago, and I had literally no clue that this would take me where it's taken me, and it's been an amazing experience so far. So I'll just talk about kind of how this was the beginning of the journey for me. So when I was about 3 years ago, I was inspired by a TV show called Mad Men. I think we've all seen it. It's this show about Madison Avenue in the 60s. And I was just enthralled by this world of advertising. Now there's this whole element of the show that, there's a lot of bad parts about the show, but the idea of this creative field where you could kind of find these emotional moments through advertising or any kind of form of art in this way to speak to people's values and then communicate values that they could obtain. I thought it was this amazing art. And I was at a 4-year school and I just really wasn't feeling exactly I wasn't seeing the opportunities I could get out of that school. So right when I discovered this amazing field, I literally became obsessed. This obsession began, and I picked up every single book I could find on the subject, Ogilvy on advertising, scientific advertising. And Miami Ad School is a great place to not only learn about just advertising, but all different kind of areas of art that advertising touches. But for me, it was always, I wanted to really get into this world of Madison Avenue, whether it was on my computer in Miami, which is where I ended up moving down to, or actually in New York City. And I actually started this presentation out with Miami Ad School's logo, but it's a picture of New York because something very interesting for me has happened this last week. I'd never expected that I would move to New York City, but 2 years ago, I moved down to Miami and I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with the school. I moved down right before the pandemic. So the pandemic hit and things changed, of course. But I just got a job offer at a New York advertising agency in Manhattan. I'm moving to Manhattan in like 3 weeks from now. And it's just, I cannot believe it's happening because I grew up in this small little town in North Carolina where no one even knows what a copywriter even is, right? And this school has given me the opportunity to just kind of throw my hat over the fence and actually start making things and meeting the right people in order to get into that kind of world. So I'll get back into it. So this obsession really kind of drove me to discover Miami Ad School. So the decision I made is kind of a funny story. I was sitting in my class at 4-year school doing a marketing degree, and I just was not feeling it. I could not see the job opportunities coming out of it. It was just more of a research kind of job to me. It seemed like marketing was. And I wanted to learn the art of advertising, like the Don Drapers in the world and the Peggy Olsons were showing me on all these beautiful episodes of Mad Men that I saw. And so I went to my counselor and I said, hey, how could I get into this world? And she had no clue. And it was my 4th year. And I said, okay, well, how much longer before I graduate? She says, well, you have 2 more years left. I was like, what? And I was just a terrible student. I couldn't accomplish anything just because I wasn't focused. And I came out of that, like, I do not want to do 2 more years of 4-year school. This is not what I want to do. And I called Miami Ad School. I had just found out about it. I just Googled it basically. And I talked to a lady named Shannon at the time, was a recruiter here. And she just said, hey, come visit. My family had lived in North Carolina for 200 years. And I was actually the first person to leave that town and just actually go out and move to a different place. And so when I made that decision, it was literally like the biggest life-changing thing I could do. So I would say advice to you guys, like now that you're thinking about doing this, throw your hat over the fence. And what I mean by that is make this big decision that forces you to grow. Because when you go to Miami Ad School, you're forced to do things that you're not used to do, like working with people on creative endeavors. When I made all these YouTube videos about advertising when I was learning about it and getting super excited, and I was just doing it all on my own. So I was forced to learn how to work with people, and that's hard as a creative person sometimes. And you really kind of meet the right people at Miami Ad School. And what I mean is you don't just meet great students, but you meet great professors. For instance, a professor of mine named Bill Wosar, I talk to on a weekly basis because he's such a helpful individual. He'll tell me, hey, Ben, this is how you negotiate salary on a job. Hey, Ben, this is how you do a freelance position. This is the stipulations. Oh, what does this thing mean that a creative director said to me? All these different things. He can give me such great advice because he's not only was a professor that taught me a lot, but he was a friend to me, absolutely. So I would invite you to go and just do it because your life will never look the same afterwards. And like I said, the community is so important. This was my first semester at Miami Ad School. That right there, the guy that I have my arm around is a guy named Nick. He's a guy who quit the insurance world after 20 years and decided he was going to be in advertising. And so not only is it just like young people that come to this school, but people of all different walks of life. And he actually became my best friend from very different worlds. He's from Brazil. I'm a guy from North Carolina, and we came together and we made all these really cool projects together and built this really great portfolio. But March 2020 hit and everything went online. And it was really tough because some of the students were leaving because they weren't necessarily used to the online program, and it was tough, but the people who were serious about their education, they really stayed. And those people are in places that you wouldn't believe now. So my advice to you for success at Miami Ad School, if you do make this decision, is make the best out of the first year here. And what I mean is go and try to talk to as many students as possible, work with as many students as possible, and really get to know the professors, not just on a level of, where you talk during class, but like email them afterwards, ask them questions about certain things, figure out what it's like to work at an agency, because these professors are industry professionals. They're not just professional teachers, they are working in agencies every day. And I think another great experience I got at Miami Ad School was the internships. Not only does Miami Ad School hook you up with really cool internships, but you can, while you're at the school, reach out to other individuals. I had the pleasure of interning at David the Agency, which is one of the greatest, I think, agencies in all of the Miami area. And I just DM'd Zampa and Zara, who were the creative directors there at the time, on Instagram. And I just said, hey, I'd love an internship. And because they knew me through Miami Ad School, it just happened like that, just because of the connection there. And I did 6 months there, and I think it led to some of the greatest parts of my life, of my work life currently happening now. But yeah, like I said, just go out and try this thing. And if you think that advertising is the thing for you, if you think any artistic field around advertising is the thing for you, try to get connected to this place as much as you can and meet as many people as you can. And definitely reach out to me if you have any questions. I think that, like I said, this has been one of the most influential things I did, not just because of the connections I made, but because the things I learned. But yeah, that's what I have for you today.
Thank you so much, Ben. I
Thanks.
appreciate that. Can you tell them for a moment what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I just got a job at Havas, which is an agency based out of New York, kind of all over the world. I think originally out of Paris. I'm working on Dr. Pepper and Keurig. And actually, I'm going to be on a call with James Corden this week, the talk show guy. And he's doing a commercial for Keurig. So yeah, big things are happening. And it's only been like literally 2 weeks at this new job. So yeah.
So see, that's funny, Ben, is I did a project last year with James Corden. So there you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We did a virtual hotel, and he like hosted the whole virtual hotel. So yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah. I hear that he's definitely a cool guy to work with.
Yeah. He's a nice guy. Yeah. He does a lot of his own writing too. Like I think a lot of it. Yeah.
Well, I think that that's the perfect segue, because now I'd like to introduce you to James Harrell,
Cool.
also a graduate, and he's going to tell you about his journey and how he got his career.
All right. Let me share my screen here. All right. Can you guys see full screen here? Okay, cool. So I'm a designer. I'm a thinker. I'm an educator. Actually, am a instructor at the Mad School. And I'm a cancer survivor. And I'm also a MAD grad. So what is MAD to me? MAD to me is a refuge for the bold. It is a playground for those who dare to think differently. It is a community of makers and doers, and it's a network of opportunity. There is a method to all the madness. I do know that. I'm a testament of that. One of the first things that was ever shared with me by Hank whenever I started the design program was this quote by Massimo Vignelli. If you can design one thing, you can design everything. And I think that's a true generalization of this program and a true belief of it. Another true belief is design is not pretty pictures. Design is solving complex problems. And to truly solve complex problems, you need to align with the challenge, empathize, synthesize, envision, build, iterate, and really ultimately deliver the solution. I truly believe that MAD creates designers who are thinkers, who are makers, who are empathizers. And I really think that MAD really creates impact ultimately. It's amazing when you consider the impact that an individual student can have. These are just some of the brands that I've had the privilege of working with. Matt has equipped me with skills to be able to design and solve complex problems for all these brands and many others. It's just a rolling thing. And just imagine the impact that you can have, and also just imagine the impact of the network that Matt has. So you may ask, what is all this madness that I'm talking about? Well, one of the first prompts, or one of the, I shouldn't say first, because this is later in the program, but one of the most fulfilling prompts that I had to solve was, how do you want to be remembered when you die? It's kind of jarring, right? Hank reminds us that each of us has a story. Our story has form. Our story has a harmony of order. In this process and beyond where we have to give things meaningful shape. Life is guided in that way because there is really no real ending. It's just a place where we stop the story and we begin something else. Paul Rand, famous designer, had the same thought when he asked Swiss designer Fred Toller to make a headstone for him that would transcend the usual cliches of a tombstone design. So I say to you, who better to design your everlasting form and tombstone than you? Because you know yourself and you want your impact, right? This project ultimately forces you to be introspective and be empathetic to your inner self. Here's my tombstone. It represents the connection of a life lived with my wife. It was a bond that was created by worldly experiences. A bond that was built by experiences, memories, and love, and it was all forged together into this form. Each circle represents a moment of time, a sturdy place to sit and really reflect on a life lived. The burden of designing your tombstone forces you as an individual to be empathetic to yourself. If that's not a great prompt, I don't know what is. Another prompt that you might be faced with is, and I teach this class now, is how do you tell a story through a label? Well, with Victorian hand lettering and materials, the story of Samuel Sneed was told through one of my projects as a student. He was a master distiller that was faced with prohibition, but like all good businessmen do, Sneed pivoted and he applied for a license to sell medicinal whiskey. Sneed's story was reflected through each detail of this label that we went through class, from the Victorian hand lettering to the sensory experience created by the overprinting, to create an overall just unique experience. And all of this was handcrafted. That's just one of the examples. I would argue this next thing I'm going to share might be a capstone of design. And you say, sit with your story. What are you sitting with? Well, and design a chair. This might seem very daunting at first to design a chair, but really you're designing a personal story of trauma or triumph or whatever you identify and empathize with yourself. This story represents to me the power of revival as a cancer survivor. I lost 3 ribs due to a rare form of cancer, and each individual slat represents a part of that journey. I wanted to be powerful on the approach, but also delicate and dainty because it was fragile at the time. This journey made me feel like I was being flung out, this cancer journey, right? But I was flung out into the unknown, but I was always brought back. I was brought back to my faith and to where this chair is all connected. It's connected into this plane of faith in the back. It is the foundation of the journey and of this revival. This chair really, in this prompt, I wanted to show vulnerability. This chair requires you to recline and be vulnerable in a vulnerable position. And I wanted the person sitting in the chair to understand the vulnerability of that place, and that place in my journey. So these are just like a couple of prompts that I felt that were impactful for my journey and helped me ultimately be able to solve complex problems. But really, I learned empathy here. I learned how to be empathetic. I learned how to be a designer through empathy and practicing radical empathy in my life. Whether that you can practice that, whether you're designing ads or writing copy, it doesn't matter. If you understand your user and your viewer or whatever, it's like you'll be able to be successful and have impact. But I do have one question. We can, ask questions, connect, whatever. But I do think that, do you have the courage to be mad, to be a part of this? And you all can connect with me, whatever. I'm always, like I said, I teach at the school now, and I'm a designer. I lead design for a company here in Atlanta, Georgia, which is goods and services, and we do full service or full service agency, everything from advertising to product design, digital product design, physical product design, brand launching, things like that. So yeah.
What are you working on right now?
I'm actually I work on JP Morgan. So we actually do experience in digital product design for JP Morgan, and they're currently rolling out a rebrand that you'll see in the near future. So yeah.
So if we see anything for JP Morgan, you have your fingerprints on it then.
That's true. Yes, it is. Yeah. The world's finance at its finest.
Great. And how
Yeah.
long have you been out of school now?
I think about 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
Awesome.
And I see Vic's with us. Hello, it's great to see you. I know you had said you were going to be running a few minutes late because you were in a client meeting. So
That's correct, but I'm here now. Thank you so much for waiting for me.
great. Well, take it away.
Okay, let's do this. Guys, my voice is a little bit awkward because I just came back from Brazil and the AC in the airplane was crazy.
Oh, and by the way, anyone, feel free to pop questions in the chat as people are talking, and we can answer them while it's happening or at the end.
Cool. Let's do this. So I'm calling this little deck here advert tips, as in advertising and tips. And right now it's loading. Let's wait a little bit. Let's try again. There we go. All right, so my name is Vic Parisotto. I am from Brazil. I'm turning 30 this year. So if you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm old, like I shouldn't be doing this again, or this is like the second course that I'm doing, like just do it. You're gonna be old anyways. There's nothing you can do about it. What you can do is you can be wiser as time goes by. So yeah, I'm from Brazil. I said that. I'm from São Paulo. I am an art director and illustrator. And I really connect to things that have to do with snacks, toys, pets, as in brands. So you're gonna see that my deck is very colorful because that's part of who I am. And this is what I do. Like some of the things, actually everything I did while I was at Miami Art School. Like if you go to my book right now, you're gonna see like all these campaigns and all these projects here. So illustrations, some DNAD, all words, really cool things. This mild coconut we see on the top, it was a national contest that had nothing to do with Miami Art School, but because, people are always talking about like contests and art and stuff, like I got to know about it and I was one of the winners. So it's super cool about it. And here is a drawing of like how I pictured my career, right? My career plan in New York, like moving from Brazil, from São Paulo to New York. So it was very simple. I just thought I just need a job there and that's it. But that's actually what happened. So I had to immerse myself into this crazy vibe of New York City and learn a new language, work a lot, connect to Miami Art School, which is like a life changer and it's amazing. Wouldn't have done without it. Go through resilience and asking myself many times, why did I pick this job? But then you get an award and you get recognition, and then you're like, oh, that's why I got it. So it's pretty cool. It's very exciting. There's not a day in my life that I don't feel happy or I wake up excited to be working with advertising, to do what I do. I have no idea what I would do if I couldn't be a creative person. So it's really like a lifestyle. If you feel like you connect to different things at the same time, and you like art and you like drawing or you like illustrating and digital painting, and you're not sure about like what to do with all those things, like this is exactly for you. As creative people, we know how to do a little bit of everything. So Miami Art School won't work for you unless you do. It's an amazing tool. It's not going to do the job for you. As Ben said, as everyone here said, it's the best tool for you, for creative people, because it opens space for them, for us to shine in different ways. So it's, to me, it's about the connections we make here. So your friends might work for you, or you might work with your friends, with your teachers. Yesterday, I was speaking to Larry, who was my teacher in quarter 1 here in Miami at school, and he's offering me a job. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh,
And
wait. Tell him where Larry works.
Larry is working at laundry service, and they just pitched Google and they won the account. So he wants me to work with him. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you are recommending me. Like, truly, I thought that he was very picky, guys. Like, he's very, like, his mind is amazing. And having him in quarter 1 was like so tough for all of us to come up with ideas. So it was truly an honor to get his call and speak to him again. So it's true, guys, like for real, like this happens. So yeah, connections, and maybe like even your teachers will work for you in the future if you're a genius, not my case yet. So anyway, smart thinking will become your best friend here. And you're here to have ideas. And a quick reveal of my 2 years at Miami Art School here in New York. I got here in 2019 before the pandemic. I had like 6 months of classes, and then the pandemic hit, and then we moved to this Zoom, which was actually really good in my opinion, like in terms of, balancing my work time and going to school. So I had classes, just to give you a context on like how my day was. I had classes from 7 to 10 at night. So that was great because I could do like work during the morning and, go out and do like normal things. That was like my life for 2 years. It's great that you can really have flexibility with Miami Art School in terms of like what you want to learn, what you want to know. I was taking the course for art directors, but I took classes here and there with the design classes they had there with James, with Hank, and they were like amazing because the focus is a little bit different. But that, as I said, it's kind of like another tool for you as an art director to use in your work. Like your craft skills get so much better, right? The environment here in New York, it's really cool. This school is located in Queens, so it's very friendly, like the location itself. There's nice people there. I don't know if Z is here, but she's the director there. Lovely lady. And yeah, Miami Art School has an amazing reputation. Like wherever you go, like you're gonna see alumni, students, and even like teachers, and people just look for students from Miami Art School because they know the standards for the school are very high. Like whoever comes out of it, of course, if you dedicate yourself enough, like you're gonna have a really brilliant career. And moving forward with like little tips that I'd like to have, heard before going into advertising back in Brazil, even when I was younger. So hopefully this helps you guys as well. So create stuff other than advertising. We, as creative people, we can see that no one likes advertising, not even us, like people who create like ads. What we like, it's content. We like connections, and we like when the insights and the campaigns are truly to our souls. So we don't like those ads that are like, buy this, get that. That's just like an info. What we like, it's the connection and the insight that is in there. And speaking of creating stuff out of advertising, I know that James shared a chair. I'm also going to share a chair here that we created during classes with Hank. And it was an amazing class. Like it took us like 3 months to come up with the concept and the production of the chair, because it was the pandemic. Like we couldn't really, you know, make the chair in real life, but we did like the 3D chair of it. So my chair was about like the art group Memphis Milano, which is basically a group that was focused on giving furniture a new, basically a new meaning through its forms, its colors. Before Milano, before Memphis Milano, back in the 80s, people used to see a chair as like for sitting and that's it, not like for decorating a place. After this movement, like people started to give like different furniture and design elements like a reason other than its function. So my chair was about repetition and being resilient, because that's what I was doing while I was at school. I was trying to be resilient and trying like to come up with new ideas and, you know, really focus on myself and as a creative person to be better. But I saw that pattern of like, I have to do this like every day. It's like a muscle. You have like to really work with it. So my chair, it's basically, if you look at it, it's the same shape over and over again. So it's kind of like this oval little shape we see on the yellow acrylic top, and even the seat part, and even like the part that supports the chair. It's like a repetition, just like the word itself, resilience. The second thing that I'd like to share is that define your brand persona. And the easiest and simplest way to do that, it's basically go to Pinterest, select all images that you connect to, even if you have no idea why you like that color, why you like this shape, why you like that artist, and make like a mood board. Once you have a mood board, you're gonna see that like many of those elements connect to something bigger. So that's probably like what you like. If it's something from the 80s, if it's something like futuristic, if it's like Bauhaus design, if it's like whatever, you know, like you got to figure out like who you are and what's your vision as a creative person. So that's going to be very helpful. For example, like I am very playful and I like playful visuals and feelings for campaigns and brands. Like when I create them, that's what I like to do. And you got to be careful like with things that you put in your book, because that's what will make people call you and be like, oh, she's the right person for this, or she's not really the tone that we're looking for this campaign. So this is why I'm saying that like be mindful of like whatever you create, because you're going to be looked for campaigns that have the same vibe of whatever you have in your book. So again, like if we look at my work, like no one is going to call me to do like, you know, anything serious. Like I do not know how to not to be serious, but you know what I mean? It's not like, for example, Nike campaigns are beautiful and touching. Like Apple has like also this very elegant and serious tone. Like we don't see it here. So, but that's fine, because like that's not like the brands that I want to work for. Also, today I work for PlayStation, so it makes sense. 3, keep yourself curious about the brief. So the brief is a document that ad agencies will handle to you, and it has like the history of the client. It has the challenge that you have to solve. As creative people, that's what we do. We solve problems in a creative way. So when you get a brief, like the things that I like to do, it's basically to go like over it and over and over it, and just try to grab like more information about the brand itself. Read the tweets about that brand. What are people truly saying? Because the insights and the best ideas come like from true comments. Maybe it's like, you know, the creative insight is a tweet, or it's a comment on YouTube, or it's out there in a TikTok dance or anything that is relevant to that brand. This is specifically for people who might not be from the US or foreign in general. Be your own press and be seen. And I'm saying this because as an immigrant, if you really want to work in the United States, you will need to work for your visa. And there are many types of like working visas, but most of them, you will have to prove that you were a talented person and that that you deserve like a working visa. So a really good tip is just like to keep, working with, let's say, one club for creativity, write up articles, share your work, post your work on As of the World, and try to be seen like the most you can. So when you try to grab like all the content that you have produced, the immigration or whoever, like the officer, will see like your hard work and like all the things that you have done. So keep yourself like organized and like just publish. Pippa, are you saying something?
I was asking how many of you are not from the United States, but are from other countries? You can just raise your hand if you're international. Okay, most people seem to be US people.
Cool.
Curious.
But this is relevant as well, like for as creative people, like it's always good to have articles and your work being seen and blogs and your portfolio itself. This one is about like taking feedback, like, like we have many ideas. Most of them are not going to be good, and that's fine. Like maybe if someone doesn't like your idea, it's because they're not part of the target or they didn't really connect to that specific idea. And as creative people, we do need to learn how to take in like feedback, even if it's negative. Just like go back and keep working hard. Don't let yourself down, and like, don't give up like just because someone said like, oh, can you please use blue and not white? Don't take things like as personal, like it is a work, so it's all good. It's part of like what we do. Number 6, find a creative partner and make a blood pact together, guys. Like it's so important to have like someone to be your duel in this story, like Batman and Robin, like you guys need to be in this together. Art directors work with copywriters usually, and it makes so much easier like when you're looking for a job if you already have a partner. And I've seen like so many of my friends from when I was taking classes at Miami at school, they got hired like as partners. So that's like great because you can have like one portfolio and you can look for jobs like together. And even like when you leave the place, like you can go always together. Like there are partners that have been together for like 20 years. Like they only like working with each other, and it's really cool. It's really like, about on you if you want to have someone like that. I think it's dope. I think it's great. And I think it's a great exercise for getting better at our jobs as you get like more comfortable with the same partner to think creatively. And I think this is the last one. Keep your portfolio and yourself up to date. You don't want to be in a situation where you are speaking about Miami at school or your work and you don't have anything to show. If you're looking for a job, if you're not, like if you are just like trying to make a connection, always have like a website with like at least 3 cool projects that you are working on. It's mainly like because of the ideas, like you're gonna learn at Miami at school how to get the craft skills. So focus on the ideas, like this is really what matters. Like you're always gonna have like a team to support you, like if you get hired. So the most important thing we can do is just like having great ideas ready to go. And that's it, guys. If you want to see like more of my work, like things that I have done at Miami at school, you can scan here and it will lead you to my website where you can see like all the cool projects that I did during Miami at school. So yeah.
I'm really impressed with the QR code edition there, Vic. That was a nice.
It's all about QR codes now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, all of you guys. before we go into a Q&A session, I want to tell you a little bit about the opportunities at the school and what actually the educational program is like here. So I'm going to share my screen. There we go. These days, there are so many careers to choose from. And like, creativity has never been more important than it is right now, because you can be an entrepreneur, you can be working for a startup or a nonprofit, you can be a designer, a product designer, a package designer, an art director, a copywriter, just the list goes on, and it keeps evolving. And that's what our curriculum does too. Someone was asking, like, how does this compare to like a university or the courses that you take there? Would this be a duplication of that? And it's not at all. So here you actually can create your kind of own educational odyssey. In the first 2 quarters, it's on concept and craft. And there you're learning all the tools you need to come up with an idea, a campaign, and how to produce it. And then after that, you get to specialize based on your own interests. So for example, one person can choose this. They do the first 2 quarters, and then they focus on visual design. And the next it's social media, experience design, social impact. Then they do an internship, and then they finish with portfolio coaching and really how to get a job out there. Or that same person could take this, where they're focusing on branded entertainment and creative technology and internships. We believe in learning by doing, so that it's never academic. It is so different from what you study at university. Class projects that you work on are often for live clients. They're like a real brief. And if they're not a real brief, they're like a real brief. They simulate that. We also do global idea-a-thons. The next one we're working on May 24th. Sorts of companies like Facebook, GQ, Ogilvy. Like the global creative director of Ogilvy is one of our female graduates. Hallmark, it's hard to name a company. Disney, it's hard to name a company where we don't have graduates there. And so they work with us on these global idea-thons, because Miami Mad School isn't just one location. It's actually a network of 14 schools around the world, and you can study and intern in multiple cities. And in idea-thons, we partner you with other creatives in different countries and different cities to work on a brief. So the next one on the 24th is with WhatsApp and for the Ukrainian refugees, and trying to find a way to help that problem. Because creativity is really your superpower. You can use it to really impact the world. And when you put a brand behind that and their power and their funding, you can do things that change the world. The last thing that we do are internships, and we have hundreds of internships a year that the students get to participate in, and we find them for them. And these aren't coffee fetching internships, you'll see. So this was a project that we did for Burger King. And I'm going to stop and show you what actually was produced. But Burger King came to the school and said, would you work on an initiative for us? You know, there's Father's Day, Mother's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, all of those different holidays. They wanted to find ways of instilling Burger King into those. So there's actually National Donut Day. Who knew? But this is an idea that the students came up with, presented it to Burger King, and they bought the idea and produced it. So I'm gonna share it with you. Remember, these are just like a couple students in school, class or project, class meets on Thursdays, whatever, this happened.
Burger King celebrated tomorrow's National Donut Day with the new Whopper Donut. This is the first flame grilled donut ever. It's got a free mini slider, and that's really just a middle piece cut in the middle. The Whopper Donut only available tomorrow at 5 locations in Boston, Miami, LA, Salt Lake City, and right here, Maria, in New York City. We're loving it. Back to you.
So is it a burger or is it a donut?
It's kind of a combination.
Thank you, Charles.
So can you imagine being in school, you come up with this idea, you sketch it on a paper, you present it in class, but these are the kind of connections that the school has and the kind of training that the students get that allow them to present these ideas and actually have them produced. As a thank you, Burger King sent this team to France for a week, all expenses paid, to the Cannes Creativity Festival, which is the most prestigious advertising festival in the world that's held every year. So that was a really nice thank you for that. And they got great jobs afterwards. The next thing we do are global ideathons. I'm going to tell you about one of them, and then I'm going to show you another one. So the one I'm going to tell you about was for KFC. And they wanted the students to work on a project for sustainability. And so they asked the students to come up with an idea. So one team, they all worked on it, like all over the world, all these different teams. Then they presented to the client, like the marketing director of KFC, not just like one little franchise, but big deal. And so they got that great experience doing that. And the winning team presented this crazy idea. So every year, fast food companies dump their oil, because they have all this extra oil and it's not good for the environment. So this team said, let's use that oil and turn it into soap, because that's what soap is made from, is fat. So they made it in the shape of fried chicken. And then they're going to put it in like red and white striped things for KFC. Can you imagine going there to KFC and buying soap in the shape of chicken? That's going to get so much PR if they can figure out how to do it. And so this is a quick video that shows you one that they did with the United Nations. So this was a project that also the United Nations liked the winning project. I can't tell it to you because they're trying to produce it. But it's pretty cool. And an agency worked with us. They were the mentors that helped the students. And that's who you'll see are these other people talking in there.
Welcome again.
Hey guys, hi, I'm Z. I'm
These
from
are all
New
the
York
directors
City.
of the school.
How are you? I'm Manolo. I'm the director of the San Francisco and Miami School.
Thank you so much, Paco and Beto. Everyone knows that you are incredible professionals, but you are awesome human beings, and thank you so much for spending this weekend with us.
Thank you very much, everyone. So let me introduce myself. I'm Paco Conde, Spanish from Madrid.
I'm Beto. I'm really excited to be with you guys this weekend.
We have an agency in LA.
Always some students from Miami at school.
Brilliant. Let's share the brief. The UNDP campaign 2022. So I'm going to share with you the current campaign. Basically, what we did is we brought an outsider, someone with a different point of view, like someone that reminds us how stupid is what we are doing right now. They had an asteroid. What's our excuse?
150
We are
students
more than
participating.
26 countries participating in this hackathon. And it's the first time in all the hackathons that we are contributing to a social impact brief like that.
So our first idea is the Doom Rover.
We want to make politicians to literally feel the effects of climate change.
That we can make it like bigger and make people talk about this.
It's prioritizing policies related to climate change and their impact on humanity.
The more fossil fuel we use, the closer we are becoming fossil fuel ourselves.
Person leaves their home without turning all the lights off. Boom.
Thank you. Okay. Amazing.
Guys, like a really good work. Like the last week has been incredible. Like everything evolves so well from you guys, from the organization team. Like this work really nice.
Looking at the future with you guys and what that can mean is very, very exciting for us.
So the future.
That guy is the global head of the United Nations on sustainability. That's who the kids were working with. Can you believe it? That
is in good hands. So we
Exactly.
are.
It's much better hands than what is in my hands.
An amazing collaboration this has been. So many minds and ideas and countries and cultures.
Pipa, thank you very much for putting this together. I mean, Miami at the school, we are talking about impact. You truly impacted our industry. It's amazing. The experience is amazing. Calling us every time you need us.
The whole Miami at the school team for me is a dream team. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm ready for the next one.
Those were some of the other clients that we worked with in the past year. And then the last thing that we do that's really special and helps people learn by doing is internships. I'm not going to play this video because I want people to be able to answer questions, but students can intern all over the world. And these are just a few of the agencies where they're interning. As you can see, it's like a cream of the crop of companies. And students can intern multiple times while they're in school. So as you can see, these are not entry-level classes. This is hit the ground running. Let's get you to where you want to be in your career. This is a project that students actually did while interning. It was an idea they came up with. They were interning at 360i in New York. And by the time the quarter was over, boom, there was their work on the sidewalk where they could walk past it and see. So I just wanted to share those few things with you. I know some of you have questions and questions of our graduates that are here. Please unmute. This is just open questions. Ask anything you want to know whatsoever. You can pop it in the chat or just say it out loud. Are students expected to come in with a certain level of experience? I know Vic had experience when she came in. How about James and Ben? What was your experience before you came in?
I can take that. I had zero experience in the chosen field which I wanted to go to. I mean, I had made a couple of YouTube videos about advertising. That is all I had, and reading some books. So I came in, 2 years later. Now I've got a job, and so yeah, you can kind of go from 0 to 60 super fast.
Yeah, I had prior knowledge. But yeah, I agree. I think that I see students come in with zero experience and are flourishing. I see people that come in with, a little bit of knowledge and things just really start to click. I think it's all about how that, you absorb and intake the materials and intake the environment and the culture. And, it's something that Hank and I talk about. It's like, this is 2 years of your life that could literally forever change the trajectory of your life. It's just 2 years. It's 2 years, and it's like, and I think that that's what's important is like that. Putting in the effort in these 2 years, if you do choose to come to the MAD school, is just so important because it could forever change you, and I feel like it will probably.
Most students don't start. You don't have to start way down here. Coming to MAD, you have a step up. You start at a higher level. Somebody was asking about how you decide between all of these different things, art direction, design. In your first couple of quarters in school, you get a tasting of all of those things. And like, if you're an art director, you're also learning about video editing and design and all of these kinds of things. If you're a designer, you're kind of learning some of those things too. And as you go through, you kind of, like Vic was talking about, you develop your own style. And we're helping you do that as you go through the program.
Yeah, I had friends that started as art directors and they switched it to copywriting. So it's very common to change your mind. You're not like stuck in a career that you don't want to be.
Yeah, when I was starting in my career, I could never decide if I wanted to be an art director or designer because my work kind of looked the same, and that's absolutely fine to be that way. The person that asked that question, are you still on? Did we answer it well enough for you? Do you want to elaborate on your question?
He's traveling. He's traveling, so he can't. He's listening to his headphones, but he's traveling.
Okay. Okay.
The next question was, what does the day in the life look like for a MAD portfolio student? I guess that would come from those that have been.
Ben or James or Vic, can you
Sure,
answer?
yeah. So it was interesting because a lot of my classes were in the evening. So I had the beginning part of my day. I do architecture as well, architectural design. And so the beginning part of my day, I could work on whatever I want or work on projects that I had for class. And then I could just go to class in the evenings and get direction on my projects. And I think one of the cool things, sorry, a little off topic, but I think you guys should know, one of the cool things about the way that Miami Ad School works is it's not like they teach you or they talk for an hour and then you like take notes. And then it's like it's almost like you're in an agency where you get these little briefs, sometimes real, sometimes fake, that they come up with. And then you just actually create a campaign with you and your partner. And sometimes it's bare bones and sometimes it's a little scrappy, but you kind of get that repetitive process of like tackling briefs. And that's such an important part of it, I think.
Yeah, I felt the same. It's truly like an ad agency experience, because if you think that you have like 4 classes a week, you're speaking about like 4 different teachers, 4 different contents, and some of them will ask you like to come up, with like many ideas for the same brand. So it's a lot of work. It's like hands-on. You really have to know how to manage your time so you don't get lost like in your deliverables. You have like debts to come up with, comms to make. Like it's a heavier lift on art directors, I would say, because we do have to take care of like the entire visuals and the deck and everything. In addition to the copywriting that goes among each one of the layouts. But I used to work like in the morning and evenings, and I was having classes at night and using my weekends to get like all the work done. So it is possible to have like balance.
In most classes, it's kind of like a third, a third, and a third. So part of it is the instructor is spending some time teaching you a new skill, briefing you on a new project. And then part of it is then the students are presenting their prior assignment. They're presenting it in class, how far they've gone, and the class is working with them on how to improve that project. So you're getting great feedback. And then sometimes there's some exercises that are done in class where you'll have like, a 15-minute exercise that you go do to practice a certain skill. And then you come back, present it, talk about it, and then the teacher will have you go more develop that skill.
Yeah, because like just to build off that point, like for my class now, we had a boot camp to kind of level set everyone's skill sets at the beginning of the class. We did that for 2 classes for 2 weeks, and then now they've moved on from that. But I wanted to backpedal a little bit and just touch on the fact that this environment is very saturated with creativity. And the saturation of this school is something that I don't think you realize it in the moment, but it's something you'll never experience again. It is raw creativity. It is the purest form. When you get out into the real world, you are, and even in the live client stuff, even with the live client stuff at the school, it's like, you're able to really just purely create. And I think that's something that's really amazing, and your creativity really shows through that. But again, you're surrounded by people that are all going for the common goal. And this goal is really to grow and to really make a really nice portfolio, to be able to really get in the industry. And it's it's a really amazing thing. But like I said, the saturation of creativity is something that's very unique that I haven't experienced since, and it makes you miss school, because it is very raw. It's something that that you're around people that they just want to create all day, and there is a balance, but I think that it's just putting in, you get out what you put in, and I think that that's the main thing. So
yeah, class sizes are small, so everybody's kind of working together and trying to improve each other's work. Classes are 8 to 12 people, so teachers have time to help you on each individual project that you're working about. Somebody asked about online options. The courses that you take online are just like the courses that they have in person. In fact, sometimes the classes are hybrid. So we have 2 different ways of taking classes. Let me back up. One's purely online, so you do not have to relocate to one of our locations. We even have internships that are online. You could intern at Wonderman in Tokyo because that internship is online. Or you could go intern at AKQA in Tokyo, where that internship is in person. So you could have it either way. The classes, we used to, before COVID, all the classes were in person, but COVID has forever changed the way people work. And so many companies, including big companies like Google and Facebook, they don't require their staff to come into the office every day anymore. A lot of agencies just have offices in WeWork, where they'll have WeWork offices all over the world. They're working online. They can go there and work in person. It's everything. And so the school has followed what the industry has done also. So we have purely online, and you can do that. Or you can have the in-person classes that are hybrid. So you could actually go to one of the cities where we have a school, and you would have classes. You would go to the school and work and partner and work on your projects, which we really encourage people to collaborate. Your classes would be in person, but some of your classes would be hybrid. So maybe one class, your teacher is actually in another city because there is an amazing teacher in Chicago that is an expert in this area. So they may be teaching from there, and then the students zoom into it like we're doing right now. Or maybe you're in person and in a class, and maybe a couple of the students zoom in from the school in New York because they were really interested in this particular class that was being offered in Miami. So it's given us a lot more flexibility, and we're able to bring in industry experts that we weren't able to bring in when we were purely in person. We couldn't bring in a gaming expert from like Portland. So that's how that's working.
Look, another question is, what is the percentage of scholarships?
Sure.
Given
So we have a wonderful scholarship program for the underrepresented. And so we increased our minority enrollment from 19% to 53% in a matter of like 4 years. And we did that through changing culture, outreach, all sorts of things. And so it's actually the most developed program of any school in our category. And our representation in school is much greater than agencies. I was even invited to speak at Cannes, which is that big advertising festival I talked to, and there were hundreds of people in the audience, and they just wanted to hear about this program we had developed. Somebody is off asking about locations. So I know our graduates attended different locations, or part of it was online during the pandemic and all. Maybe you guys could share your advice on locations.
I could talk about Miami. So yeah, like I said, I came to Miami Ed School in January 2020. So it was the old school, which was in Wynwood, which is a super cool building. I had never been to Miami. I visited like a couple weeks before I decided to move there, which was interesting. It's an amazing city if you've never been. I loved the school there. I hear Atlanta is a great campus as well. I have many friends that went there, but they haven't. Pippa can tell you all about it. They have a new building in Miami, and it seems like a very, very cool place to go for sure. And it's definitely, if you've never been to Miami, a culture shock for a lot of people, and it was definitely a culture shock for me. But I would definitely recommend that when I'm biased, but that's me.
So he's from Miami. And then James is from Atlanta, and Vic happens to be from New York school. So they can, James?
Yeah, I think I mean, I think the education is great everywhere. I'm biased to Atlanta, but I think that everywhere is, all the locations are great and have their different selling points. The Atlanta, I'm getting a lot of feedback from somebody here. I'm not sure. Anyways, but yeah, no, the Atlanta campus is really great. Culture is great. The building is really fun. I think that, you know, the people make the place. So I think anywhere is really great.
And there is New York, where I came from, and there is also São Paulo. We do have like an awesome location there near pubs, and the nightlife is amazing. Both in São Paulo and here in New York. For the Mad Men lovers, we have the Madison Avenue, which is great, like all the cool agencies here. Ben, let's grab drinks when you get here also. And yeah, the school here is located in Queens. It's a huge building, lots of space. There is a cool terrace like for us to chill, like, and think of ideas and have pizza nights and everything. It's great, really.
The nice thing is you don't have to pick one location. Your first year, you stay in one location. And the second year, you could do, like, let's say you started in Atlanta. Well, the next year, you could do 1 quarter in Miami, and then New York, and then San Francisco, and then Sao Paulo or Berlin or whatever. So you get to create whatever it is that you want to do. So somebody asked if you have to be proficient in the Adobe applications and all. You do not. In fact, most people, when they start school, do not know them at all. And one of the classes you take in your first quarter is actually in those programs. And so you'll take multiple classes in learning those. Somebody early on asked us about Creative Circus. Are they still on the call? Are they there? So Creative Circus was a school very similar to ours. My husband actually started the first school of this kind ever in the world in 1979. And he was the first person to ever teach copywriting to team art directors and copywriters, to have a program and strategy, to do these like study abroad and internship things. None of those things ever existed before that. The school at that time was called Portfolio Center. And every school in the United States, like Creative Circus, like Miami Ad School, was patterned off of that model. So my husband sold his interest in that and he and I went and started Miami Ad School. Several years later, some staff that my husband had hired, actually one of my husband's best friends, got disgruntled at the then leadership, the new leadership at Portfolio Center, and went and started Creative Circus. And so if you're asking about that, it's the same sort of program there. Creative Circus doesn't exist anymore. It got sold to like a business school, and they did computer training and truck driving schools and things like that. And creativity wasn't at their core. And so they let that school go away. But we have since then taken in their students who had signed up to start, because it's basically it was 2 locations, but the same school of thought. And we're inviting their graduates to come and be in our network too, so that they could get, job placement assistance and have that creative community and network. So I hope that answers your question regarding that.
If you are already versed in Adobe Suite, do you have to take those classes that teach you how to use the software?
You do not. In fact, we give you if you do know those programs, we give you a placement test at the beginning. And if you have sufficient skills in those, then those are classes you do not have to take. And so we don't ever want you to repeat a skill that it's something that you already have mastery of.
Question for the previous students: what sort of jobs are you able to manage while being in the program for 2 years? I currently work full-time in an agency, and I know it won't be feasible to continue once I start the program. So ideating other options.
Vic, Ben, James?
For me, I actually did not technically work when I was in school. I wanted to focus completely on school, but I did do a lot of freelance work on the side for copywriting. I did some like email copywriting, and I did some I even did some package design. Even though I'm a copywriter, I did some of that stuff on the side. I had plenty of time for that. So I think it's doable for the right person if you're definitely have a strong work ethic.
Yeah, I agree. I was working at an animation studio while I was attending Miami Ad School, but I was working kind of like for a social media position because I didn't want to lose the focus and do not have time like for things that were my priority during my time with Miami Ad School. So I do recommend you to find a job like that is either like a freelance, as Ben was saying, or something that is lighter for you, not to, oopsie, there's someone here. But yes, it is possible to have balance. 1 second.
The following question is, are internships paid?
So some internships are paid and some are not. It depends on the agency and the structure. Each quarter, we give students a long list of all of the internship opportunities that are available the next quarter. And then they can choose which sort of thing they're interested in. And it'll list this one's paid, this one's not paid. I think that some of you may be interested in, how do I pay for school? How do I do this? And you can get financial aid at Miami Ad School, just like you can at any university. So if you are 23 or younger, this can show you the loan. Will this show if I do this? I think it's hidden. Let me just unskip these real slow. There we go. So if you are 23 or younger, this shows you what tuition is by quarter. So it shows you that your investment in school would be about $38,800. The average starting salary is around in the 60s. And so as you can see, this is a pretty good investment. If you're under 23, you can get a student loan of this much. So your first quarter, it would be $1,800. But in your fourth quarter, they give you more as you get through school. In your fourth quarter, it's $2,100. And then this would be the amount you would need to pay out of pocket. Or you can do it in an installment plan, and it's this much a month. If you're under 23, your parents can also take out loans for you, in which case they can borrow more money and actually give you a refund. So if your parents take out a loan, they can take out up to $75,000, which is way more than's needed. But let's just say they take a loan out of $38,000. This gives you a $2,000 refund per quarter, which can be put toward living expenses, rent, food. And if you're 24 or older, you can take out a student loan so that here's what it is per quarter. Like if tuition is $48.50, you can take out a loan for $31.34. As you get further in the program, you can take out more. And so this shows you what your monthly payment is. So, you know, in your first year, first 3 quarters, it would be $572. As you get farther in the program, it's $463 a month. So, and then those loans you're able to pay back over 10 plus years. And so they become manageable. I know that's how I paid for my schooling. And
Are classes always in the evening?
so classes are offered when our instructors who are industry professionals are available to teach, which means most classes are in the evenings. Classes are offered usually from 9 to 12, 1 to 4, 4 to 7, or 7 to 10, one of those 4 time slots. But the most common are 4 to 7 or 7 to 10.
Can I go into other paths that may not be agency and dive into fashion, startups, film, or big creative companies like Google or TikTok?
Yep. One of the creative heads of TikTok is a graduate, as well as WhatsApp, Snapchat, Google, Facebook. We have graduates in all those companies. Hank, do you want to tell them about Katie and what her first job was out of school?
1 second, let me get on the speaker. And I would add to that, besides Katie, she really loved Katie Tynes Watford. She loved really the nonprofit sector. And so she went into that sector to a company called New Story. Take a look it up when you get a minute. They're basically changing the way homelessness happens on our planet. And they're doing it for real. And it's idealistic in nature, but they're disrupting the nonprofit model, and the profitability in that is amazing. I was actually put on the spot yesterday and talking to somebody and who asked me, can you name the success of a few students? And of course I can, but I hadn't been put on the spot like that in a long time. And so I thought I'd share that with you, not the names necessarily, because it doesn't matter so much that, but, you know, one fellow is to being able to do diverse things. One fellow is a CEO today of a major women's shoe company. Another is the creative director of the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta United. Another is the director of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Another is the senior creative at Chick-fil-A company. Another is vice president UX at Oracle. Another one is the vice president of UX at Rivian, if you know who they are, Ford's new electric car company. One is the vice president of brand experience and design. Another is the head of content marketing at Disney, branded television, and National Geographic. And and another one is head of global creative at Spotify. And, you know, when you put on the spot, sometimes you realize how diverse the opportunities are for people. Mind you, those individuals have been out somewhere around 10 to 18 years, but nevertheless, that success has its own modicum sort of when you start out as well, and the ability to work in so many different areas. And really, I really believe that real success comes from finding work in the things you love. So it's you know, look for the things you really love, sort of to Vic's point a little bit earlier. And the school does a great job in helping you understand that. And by the time you arrive, we'll have a coaching mechanism to work with you every quarter that way.
Any more questions? Did we hit them all?
Other than art director, what are some positions / titles that graduates may have? I think we talked about this earlier.
Copywriter, strategist,
Creative.
Media, like what else? Art buyers.
they
These
go
are
into
all departments.
packaging,
Yeah.
content creation.
Thinking of like all the departments of an ad agency, basically. But
Yeah.
not only that, because you could go to, you know, like marketing and work like in-house of a client you like.
Yeah, and then in design, I think I mean, everything from like designer, junior designer, design, visual designer, product, product designer. I mean, there's so many different titles that are just very transferable. But
I
have heard one, I think there was like designer thinker or something, which was interesting, but
I want to be a designer thinker now.
I do too. I want to strive for that.
What are the positions graduates tend to get right after finishing the art direction program? Entry-level positions?
It depends on your portfolio and what you do. It can be anywhere from a junior art director to a senior art director, based on how, you know, are you killing it in your internships, getting lots of work produced and you're hustling, or are you kind of, you know, Vic, why don't you answer that? Because you stepped into a pretty high role at a school.
I did. I had previous experience. So that's what I said to people like, hey, I do have like previous experience from Brazil. I won a bunch of awards here in the US, because this is like helpful when you're trying to negotiate your salary as well. I'm not only an art director, I also am an illustrator. So this is like more assets and things that you can sell when coming up with a title like that. But yeah, it really depends on the work you have in your book. All words are helpful, connections are helpful, and knowledge is powerful. And that's it.
I think that we have a video you could share with them, Tyler, where it's talking about like kind of the salaries that people, you know, it's graduates talking about how much they made when they got out of school.
Yeah.
Can you pop that in the chat, maybe?
I sure can. Give me uno momento. Be right back.
Okay. Any other questions that you guys have?
Pippa, we actually had one more. Someone wanted to know in regards to the deck that you shared, is there a way that they can view this later with the information provided on the deck?
Yes, I can put it together as a PDF and happy to share that with you guys. We have your emails from this, and so we can send it out. Mo, remind me to do that if you would.
Okay.
It's actually, I wasn't planning on presenting it. It's part of a presentation I'm going to give to some people next week. So, but we were talking about stuff. I'm like, this would be helpful. So I just pulled it together really fast and started presenting.
About the last question here, most of my friends, like we were speaking about a class of 10 people, like I would say that 7 of them are working and they started as juniors, not like as interns. They did like the 3-month internship from Miami Ad School, and from there they basically either accepted a position as a junior because they were good, or they looked for something else and also got hired as juniors.
I was looking at some salary things today, and I wish I had like the exact stats, but most of them, oh, there you go. Do you guys want to watch that?
Video is in the chat. I repeat, the video is in the chat.
Should we play it right now? How long is it? Like a minute or so?
Let's see. I think it might be a little long. Why not?
I think it's also a good time to drop our
Visionary entrepreneur. If you're the bottleneck.
Sorry, Mo.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as far as the admission team, I'm sure you guys probably may think of questions later on, or just kind of want to do a one-on-one with any of the admin team, we're going to drop our calendars in here. So any available date that's in the calendar for you to kind of take a deeper dive into the school and more detailed questions that you may have. That's what we do all day long. So please take advantage of that and know that we're the team that's with you throughout your journey, throughout your process and the admissions. So we're rooting for you as well. So just wanted to say that.
Consider us your fairy mad mothers.
So can I see that Tyler dropped her Calendly in there. Mo and Vanessa, can you get yours fast enough to drop yours in there?
I'm also going to put the program Zoom links in here, Calendly calls. So if you are interested in art direction, you are interested in copywriting or design, possibly photography and video, there will be separate links for that as well. You do want to have a one-on-one with an admissions advisor. The advisor links will be in the comments section.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. My name is Tyler. I'm going to be one of the admissions advisors helping you guys to start your creative careers here with the Miami Ad School with our 4 portfolio programs: art direction, copywriting, photography and video, and design, as well as our boot camps. We are well equipped to make you well equipped for the creative industry. And my job is to help you transition smoothly from prospective to enrolled student. We have financial aid and scholarships available for all of our portfolio programs, and our 4 U.S. locations, Miami, Atlanta, San Francisco, and New York, as well as our international locations, are ready for you guys to go ahead and enroll when you are ready. So feel free to go to our website, www.miamiadschool.com, hit apply now, start your application, and if you have any questions, set up a call and we will be happy to help you.